Hey everyone, welcome to another fantastic episode of 302 of a Kind. Yes, it is fantastic because we get a fantastic co-host, Mr. Kevin Inding, ladies and gentlemen.
What's up? Mr. Marcus, how are you?
Glad you could make it. Yeah, I'm just so happy this end is about to come to an end. I had a couple of workshops still even today. I also have something next week, but yeah, it's only 2 more days next week, so it's going to be fine. I'm exhausted.
And I think I'm so glad you say that because I wanted to chime in and say I think it's fair to say that we're all tired, man. I'm super tired. You are super tired. Everybody I speak to is super tired. And sure, some of that is the end of the year fatigue, but it feels like 25 was just a busy, heavy year for everyone.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, like, obviously with everything else going on in the world, it's not just not making it any much more fun or happy, so yeah, but yeah, let's get a restart. 2025 is in the books, wasn't really that well. Let's I think we can do better next year. We can all do better. So let's talk about SEO. I mean, like, we still have a lot of stuff we would like to talk to you about today, so I would say let's jump right in, because you actually reflected a little bit on the past year, which I thought was pretty nice. I'm going to put it in here. While Hans is entering the room, good morning, Hans. One of the best and brightest we have in Germany, and not just Germany. It's Hans, ladies and gentlemen. Thanks for coming to the show. He's just phenomenal. Sorry, I'm just a big Hans fan. But you reflected on 2025, and we can all read it, but we can also let you tell us what we didn't read.
Yeah, sure. Look, every year I'm trying to be transparent about how my business is going, how Growth Memo is going, my thoughts on the industry. And I don't see myself as a typical creator. I see myself as an advisor, as a practitioner. But people are interested in that type of stuff, and so once a year I share a bit behind the scenes. This year for Growth Memo was amazing. Business is growing fast.
Looks like it.
Yeah, it's good. It's good, man. 23,000 subscribers. We're definitely going to hit 30,000 next year. So it's
more than deserved. I really got to say, this is one of the best elaborate. It's not like a newsletter, right? I mean, like, this is like really, there's so much stuff that goes into it. And I got to say also, when you also give out these templates, to pitch this to your CEO or something like this is just such a good service. So this goes way beyond like a normal newsletter. So well deserved, I made that. Yes.
Thank you, Marcus. I appreciate that very much. It means a lot to me. I spend a lot of energy on it. And you're right, it's more than a newsletter. And next year, I have a couple of projects in the pipeline that are going to, I think, really expand this. So I'm very, very excited. I don't want to give it away just yet, but I spent a lot of time over the last couple of weeks thinking about what are the 4 to 5 big bets that we can place to grow the business. And that's the same approach I take with my customers, right? Where most of the time we're thinking about, okay, in our environment, within our goals, within the levers that we can pull, what are the 4 to 5 big bets? If you think about going to a casino, right, and you take a little bit of money, I'm not a gambler, but the analogy is good, and you place it, right? Like, where do you place it and maybe get crazy returns? And so I have some.
Not at the casino. Spoiler alert. Not gonna happen. I don't know. You're not a gambler. You just said that. If you're gonna do that, go into the casino where I'm gonna place my bet. Yeah, it's all bad.
It's so funny, man. Whatever. Every time I'm in a casino, I maybe make the money back that I placed. My wife always comes home with a lot more money. She's she has a lucky finger or whatever you want to call it, but I don't have a good hand. Whatever I play, I usually come out 0 or negative.
But this is why I always play poker, and not like classical casino games. I mean, like, obviously craps has like the best odds basically for a gambler, but with poker you play against other gamblers, so the casino doesn't mind that much if money changes hands here, but
yeah.
If you're consistently winning at a blackjack table, you might get to visit,
Yeah. Or you don't get to visit anymore. Yeah. But I only gamble in Vegas, so it rarely happens ever.
Yeah, right on. I haven't been to Vegas, and whatever. And I think it changed dramatically. But let's not talk about American politics again. I'm gonna sustain myself here. Yeah, you did a lot of stuff throughout the years. This year was just amazing. You put really money where your mouth is. You really took money in your hands, and just did the study that you wanted to read and nobody else did. And you did a couple of them.
Thanks, brother. Yeah, and we have more lined up for next year. I am so excited because I constantly think about the biggest questions of our industry and where do we need data the most. And so we have already confirmed a couple more user behavior studies, and I think they're going to bring a completely new level of knowledge to the industry, and I'm very, very excited to get those out. Yeah, also hit number 38 on business on Substack. Let's see if we can make a top 20 next year. But I've been climbing pretty well. I don't know where I started the year, but it's getting fun. It's getting fun, and the network sends me a lot of subscribers too, which is fantastic.
And I don't know none of them. I mean, the compounding tortoise, the compounding tortoise is better than your. I don't get it. I don't know.
I don't know tortoise.
All right. And you also did some industry reflections.
Yes, I like to sit down and just at the end of the year, just what's top of mind for me without too much planning or research, just like what is happening right now. 5 quick points. One is, we still don't have an identity formed around this new AI trend. And the symptom is that we're trying to give us different names, geo, AEO, LMO. And again, I think next year with more agents, it's probably going to be agentic SEO or agentic search. So we're still not in
But
agreement.
in the end, it's the SEO doing the job. I don't know. I know. I have my stance on this.
Sure. I think SEOs are in the best position for this, right?
I'm dying on that hill. I'm perfectly fine dying on that hill. I'm still an SEO. I'm not gonna. I'm so old already. I've been doing this for almost 30 years. I'm not gonna rename now. I haven't renamed when everybody was a growth engineer or growth hacker, which I love, which sounded really cool and much cooler than SEO. But I'm not going to change now.
It sounded cool until once again marketers destroyed it. But look, let's see. It's too early to change. It's too early to define anything new. We still haven't arrived. The other thing
is interesting what you rate, by the way, that the general SEO community can't really align on something, and it shows again like this how cluttered this community really is, while it is really for SEOs to really embrace this, right? Name it, right? I mean, we could be in the driver's seat, but again, SEOs are just just whatever it is, we're gonna do it, it's okay, I can also do that, I can also do that, right? It's like, I don't know, we should be in the driver's seat, but we're totally missing the point here. But again, we don't want to in the SEO geo debate, not in the last show of the year.
What's your favorite acronym? Just kidding, Marcus, just kidding. No, but to a point, right? Like SEO is very fragmented. You have the affiliates, you have the whitehead, maybe enterprise people, you have the local and small business, you have shopping, right? So there is some overlap, but not 100%. And I think that is part of the problem. There are many fractions. And so eventually we'll figure out, how this is going to go. But another symptom are the metrics. It's really hard to attribute AI search right now. The best way is self-reported attribution, where you ask people after they purchased or signed up how they found you. But that comes with its own problems, right? It's not an ideal method. So
not ideal. I mean, like, we're data marketers, and that's like that. That's not ideal. Calling on a customer, hey, how did you hear from us? Or did you do a Google search before that or after that? Like,
honestly, man, if we would call customers, that would be cool. That would be awesome,
dude.
That would be awesome. I'm all for it.
Yeah, but still, it's not very scalable approach. Let's see, if you sell cruise ships, you're fine, you're not selling a lot of cruise ships probably, right? But if you're selling, like, I don't know, like 40, 50,000 versions of your software, whatever, this could be pretty frustrating.
Yeah. It's as you said, very hard to scale, and people forget and all that kind of stuff. That being said, I think that might change over time. I think we'll probably get with more ads in AI search. We're probably going to get better data and then hopefully be able to measure impact here. But it's a massive blind spot, and that also makes it hard to sell AI search. Now, don't get me wrong. Right now, everybody wants to do AI search, right? It's the hot new kid on the block. But shiny new thing. And maybe there is a there, right? I'm not saying it's just shiny, but it's very hard to quantify. and we'll figure it out. I'm confident that in the next 12 to 24 months, we're actually going to learn what purchasing power is behind AI search.
Yeah. And I can tell you actually something very interesting. I just thought about it. Today I had a workshop with a customer, and they saw this erosion of traffic. I mean, like, as you can imagine, right? This like perfect example, total erosion of their traffic. Right now they're at like 2/3 brand traffic, just 1/3 organic traffic, and it's super way low. They were really big with questions because they have a lot of studies, study type content on like, yeah, like for the whole space basically that they are in. And this is really awesome. This fares well, obviously, in LLM engines, but like, again, search traffic eroded, right? From like hundreds of thousands to almost nothing anymore. But they now have way more traffic coming out of ChatGPT, especially out of ChatGPT, and other engines than their organic traffic. And this is frankly something I have not seen before.
Wow.
That somebody is now really getting more traffic out of this. I mean, like, it says a lot when your organic traffic is eroded so much, right? But nevertheless, it was still on a very high niveau.
Yeah, level. Yeah,
level, well, very high level. It got down, but they get a lot of mentions, citations, and because they're really anchored within the model, it's like a specific part of that. They like own a specific category. So always when you phrase a question in that niche and you phrase it in a sense of this category, right, it will be very likely that that brand shows up. And this is one of the most interesting things. It's like the community aspect. And so it works really, really well. And I was astounded really by this. And so I'm quite hopeful also going into 2026, seeing that kind of stuff. That again, this is like, sites go down and this other one, they're going up. But we learn a lot from those. And this is this is exciting. Also normally I really have just like, I mean, like, obviously they were also very traurig, sad, yeah, but nevertheless it also gave them hope. And this is rare because sometimes you sit with customers and you're like, yeah, this is not coming back. You might want to look for other opportunities. Maybe do something else. Do you know how to repair bikes? It's not a fun conversation, obviously. But this was very hopeful, actually. And it's just
fantastic.
Exactly what you say. It's just more challenging from A to Z.
It's a very interesting case. I don't think I yet have a customer that gets more LLM traffic than organic, but I've also heard about this from other experts. And it's just a matter of time.
I tell you after the call, I tell you the brand, you will be amazed, but then you'll see it and you will be like, oh, that makes a lot of sense.
Fascinating, man. Fascinating. But leads me perfectly to the third point. It's getting more complex and more challenging. And where I agree with you is that SEOs, they have all the opportunity to evolve, but they need to evolve.
Yeah.
And so the reason I'm saying that is because there is this big overlap between AI search and classic SEO, but it's not 100% overlap, right? Yeah. LLM answers are probabilistic. Tracking the right prompts is really critical, et cetera, and prompts are 5 times longer than search keywords. There's personalization. We're seeing a lot more of that lately, especially with an AI mode. I'm very surprised, actually. I got an email this morning from Google saying, hey, we're increasing our capabilities of WebGuide. I had WebGuide as the default search experience for the last 4 weeks. I'm in some sort of a test.
Wow.
And this morning,
I don't. That's funny. Holy shit.
Interesting. We should compare results sometime. And so, they said we have better capabilities. And then interestingly, so they have a CTA saying, check it out or something like that. So I click on the CTA and I see no WebGuide. But I don't know if it's some bug or something, but they gave me a very long specific search. So they sent me to the Google search results and it was normal search results instead of Google WebGuide. But the query that they put in there, it must have been 30 words long, and it was hyper relevant to me, like to a level where I'm like, whoa, have I asked this before? Have I searched for this before? So I'm not sure But either way, I would love to see what other queries people got in their email, because mine was so specific that I was like, this cannot be an accident. This cannot be an accident that everybody gets this, and it's so specific to me. So that personalization part is coming, and it's changing the game significantly.
Crazy. Also auch noch a little bit scary.
Yeah.
To say the least. Like, holy shit. It's like, oh, where did I lose my keys? And then you get like an email from Google, and it's like, well, what's the best way to find your keys when you lost them? And that's weird. Right on.
Oh god.
By the way, Hans, I got to say this again. If you don't know Hans Kronenberg, he's like one of the top 3 geo, AIO, SEO, however you want to call it, but he's one of the top 3 experts in the world for that kind of stuff. So you want to listen closely if he says something. If it's a topic where AI can act as a decision-making guide, for example, choosing tools or software, AI answers can drive a lot of traffic because they understand products more holistically than Google and can make plausible situation-specific recommendations. Absolutely, and this is also my experience. Here's a little bit different. Also, Hans, I'm going to tell you the brand. You're going to like this. It's really interesting. All right, then we have the Gold Rush.
Yeah, the Gold Rush. Yeah. Obviously, a lot of hype this year and last year, a lot of rushing into a direction, which I understand where it's coming from.
Right? But it's the right word. It's rushing. It's like, oh, well, the sea level is like, we got to get on it. Let's do this. Do something. Track prompts. Whatever, right? Go to Reddit.
Build citations. Yeah, exactly. It's a lot of hype and rushing. And look, like on one hand, I get it, right? Because ChatGPT has almost 1 billion people using it every week. And Marcus, I am continuously surprised how many people in my environment use ChatGPT all the time. All the time. Normal people, not tech people at all, right? They use it all the time.
Especially the normal people, right? And this coming from a guy who was like 5, 6, 7 Rubik's cubes on his desk, right? So like the normal people, and by the way, he's all Lego, but whatever. So the normal people, as we like to call them, and this is exactly the truth. Like the more tech, right, the more nuanced actually is their approach. Oh, this is how I use Google. This I use Perplexity. This is I use Claude, right? And they're like ChatGPT. It's like really like they don't talk about Google anymore, right? It's like really ChatGPT. Kids, older people. I'm also old, but older than me, right? Whatever. So almost
not that old. Not that
old. I'm also I find this really interesting. How like what kind of people are saying, oh yeah, I only use ChatGPT now, right?
Yeah, it's great. Me too. Gemini, ChatGPT, Claude. I use it so much more than Google. But I'm, as you said, I'm not normal in many ways. So it's fascinating to see. And that's why I understand why so many companies and investors want to get a first mover advantage, because 20, 25 years ago, it was the same thing with Google.
Yeah.
And see what happened, right? Like there are incumbents.
That's where we are here right now. I mean,
that's why we're here. Yeah, exactly.
Loving it every second of it.
So, I get it. And at the same time, it's messy, it's untargeted, unstructured. And so I really hope that next year we can, use the momentum without doing crazy stuff. But we'll see. Never underestimate how crazy humans can get.
All right. And then here in your fifth thing, I also have a very controversial point on this. And actually, we discussed this in the G50 WhatsApp group. So let me hear what you think about this. So the increased influence. And I think this is a two-sided sword, right? I mean, like, of course, stakeholders are listening. Your expertise matters more than ever. Of course, you're the guy that, hey, you do search all the time. Can you understand also ChatGPT, how that works? Can you also do that? Why, of course, like this is how it is right now, right? And now it's like, okay, we trust this guy, this agency, XY, blah, 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 right? But what happens, right? Because now they're like, we're on it. We're on it. We got the best thing, and they're all on it. And then it doesn't really move the needle. Also, could this have also like a bad effect for a whole lot of SEOs because they're now being pushed into this, and basically with the expectation, oh, our traffic is eroding. Hey, get on it and get us this traffic back via LLMs. Oh, it's different, blah, 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 but it's still the same. I get it. Okay, do your thing. And now this isn't really happening because it's super hard, right? In a lot of cases, and just it makes a lot of sense that a lot of people won't be able to move that needle. And I mean, it's hard to predict how this plays out, but I don't think like SEOs did themselves a favor by like getting pushed into this, and again without like a clear expectation management in the most part, I would think. So how do you see this?
I think you're hitting it on the head when you say expectation management. The reality is that we're going through this crazy technological change. Okay. So, and I have this conversation with almost all of my customers. This is probably could be the biggest shift in technology that we see in our lifetimes. Okay. And the expectation that somebody knows what to do in this situation is very low. You know what I mean? Like it's very unrealistic. I mean, so expectation management is critical. Two, I think a mistake that SEOs have made in the past and keep making is that they are not transparent enough about their thought process. They get wrapped up into these technicalities, right? Algorithm updates and JavaScript and blah, 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 right? But what stakeholders need to understand is here's the thought process in simple terms, and that's our projection based on these terms. And we're not going to promise anything. We're going to treat this as an experiment, okay? So you need to get stakeholders on board, which I think is very realistic, to the fact that everything is experimental and we don't yet know how this works, and have a very clear logic of like why you do certain things you do and what your projection is. I'm going to give you an example because I was recently asked this by a really big customer. Can't yet name the company, but it's everybody knows the company. Everybody uses them all the time, or several times. And so the thing is the following. They're like, okay,
no,
sorry.
I was like thinking, what could I say now? And then, like, I don't know. I took the filthy joke. I'm sorry.
Speak for yourself, Marcus. Using it all the time. No, it's not adult. I would be lost in adult sites. I don't know.
I'm sorry.
No, it's fine. It's end of the year. We're all tired. That being said, so it's a really big company, right? And they want to invest in SEO. And they also want to invest in their AI visibility. Now, they asked us, or asked me, how do we forecast impact here? How do we project it? And so that's where it's important to slow down and be very specific. So first of all, you need a baseline, right? What is the business impact of AI search today? Of course, most companies don't have that, right? The best thing you can do there is either referral traffic from AI, which comes with its own complications, or self-report attribution. And in this business, you actually have enough scale, enough customers that self-reported gives you a signal. So now you self-reported and you have a baseline. Okay, next, how much can we grow this baseline? That's where you want to pair the baseline with something like share of voice in ChatGPT, or citations or mentions, ideally all of them. You see how much can you grow this by analyzing the prompts you want to be visible in, right? You can back into how much growth you can have, and then you say, okay, if we're able to grow our number of mentions by 10%, then we also expect our self-report attribution to grow by 10%, and that's how you want to do it. But be hyper specific that this is an assumption. And you want to collect signals along the way to see if that assumption is correct, right? So if you see a % growth, do you also see a % growth in self-report attribution, right? If not, how do you reconcile that? How do you remedy that? And that is, I think, the approach that it needs. Baseline, how to grow, what's the target, what are the underlying assumption, and what are the experiments you're going to run to see if that's true or not.
Very good points. By the way, Rudiger, pre-Christmas hello, gentlemen. Very hard to get the attribution right, and this is not just you thinking that. Everybody thinks that. Yeah, obviously, attribution is always horrible. By the way, Rudiger actually also I have it here. That's why he's just in, so I'm just going to promote it real quick. He actually is the grumpy old SEO. He blogged again. SEO and AI SEO. Stop selling it short. And this, I like this how he wrote this, because this goes into what we just talk about, right? And he does this flaming plaidoyer, flaming
Plaidoyer. Pledge. Yeah, pledge is good. Yeah, pledge is good.
To stop selling it short, and I really like that. So you should definitely check it out from the grumpy old SEO. He's not that grumpy. Don't tell him though. And by the way, he also wants you to complete this survey. So I mean, like Rüdiger as a Stammhörer, as he's always here. So obviously, I'm also promoting his stuff.
Of course.
To our audience.
I'll fit it out after the call. Of course.
Of course. All right. So much for the. I love that final thought here. Growth is won by teams built around outcomes, not channels. Well done, JetGDP. Well written. Did you write it yourself? No.
Yeah. Usually I do.
Yeah, it's also incredible like how much I'm still writing myself, and I find myself like, oh, I could have also written it with JetGDP, but I don't. I don't know.
The problem is you get so lazy so quickly.
Yeah.
And for me, reviewing something is much more exhausting than writing it myself. So a lot of times what I do is I'll write a draft and then I'll ask ChatGPT how to make it better. What am I missing? What's wrong? How to stress test certain assumptions, blah, 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 right? All the meta thinking after. But I'm very hesitant because I caught myself that when ChatGPT writes the first draft, I don't edit it as much as I should.
Yeah, it's like, and then you're already in that lane, and then you're basically doing a ChatGPT piece and not what you actually wanted to write.
Exactly.
The only thing where I really use it is like social media posts, like LinkedIn or stuff like this, because I don't like social media. I'm not very social on social media, and normally it was like the process was like me writing something, then giving it to my wife, and Becky would be like, well, yeah, you can post that, that's okay, right? And then I'm gonna post it. So now basically my wife has been replaced as not just in that specific instance, please. Just in that specific instance. And now I'm doing this ChatGPT, and I love that because it's like, oh, perfect post. I can post it like that, great, and I don't have to worry about this because I can't write social media posts for shit. By the way, Rüdiger is saying, what about if we were able to use the data we as SEO gather to improve product and services and get a more positive brand recognition? Yeah, we should all think like that. Well done.
Yes.
This is how it's done. Yeah, definitely. All right, talking about how it's done. I think you wrote this piece on LinkedIn here yesterday. Don't assume that SEO wins. AI wins. I think that's a very good point. And I love how you point out basically the new Semrush solution, which is really, as you read, the first place I've seen this, which really combines AI versus SEO comparison in the Semrush Enterprise platform. I really like this a lot, and actually my customers like this a lot too.
Yeah, mine too.
And I think this was really a great move from Semrush to be like really the first ones to really put it both on one, and then you can really see, because both is still important, right? And you want to be really aware of your performance in both of these channels.
Yes.
And talking about Semrush, Semrush actually also released some great data I want to talk to you about. They did a big study, did this post about basically what this all tells us. So one of the things that also got picked up, I think on Search Engine Land, the volatile growth. So AI overviews were like everywhere, got more everywhere, and now they started declining again. And we're now at about 16% in November 2025. So we've gone really up. Where's the peak? Yeah, I mean, like big peak 25, and then you see it going back down again. What do you make out of this stat?
Man, it's really interesting. I know there's like a bit more explanation and nuance in this study about what happened and what the shift was, but it seems like Google is getting a bit more targeted at when they display AI overviews. And so the question is why, right? Interestingly, around that same time, ChatGPT also sent less referral traffic to websites. But I thought about, okay, like what could happen here? Like what's going on? And then I read the Cloudflare annual traffic report. And in that report, you find, see, it's already in there. The first chart, if you scroll all the way up to the first chart.
This here, the bot traffic, but okay, first chart.
Okay, here. This is interesting. What's going on here? That's total internet traffic as measured by Cloudflare. And after the summer holidays, at the end of August, we see this massive increase in traffic. And so that coincides very much with the curve that you showed for AI overviews, just on the inverse. Yes. And so my theory is that Google has seen that, hey, traffic is going like super high. We're showing all of these AI overviews. We're spending a lot of money generating the AI tokens. Let's be a bit more specific about where these AI overviews have the biggest impact. That's my theory.
Interesting. But this is crazy. Yeah, I didn't think about that, because I was actually just focused on this one, the bot traffic.
That's also a good one.
Yeah, super interesting. Also this here, right? The Google image proxy, from September 1st.
Yeah.
Boom. Just a whole nother level all of a sudden. When was Nana Banana announced?
I have to look it up.
I don't know.
Where's ChatGPT?
But they Google image proxy. I don't know. Could be a lot of research regarding images, stuff like this. I don't know.
It was August 26th, so that matches with the timeline.
Wow. Crazy. Interesting.
But then, like, why? Like, if Nano Banana is responsible for this and people are generating more images, why is it a step change? You know what I mean? Like, shouldn't it be gradual? It's something interesting.
Yeah, it's so interesting, right? That it's like, really, okay, this is the level we crawled. Now, boom, let's crank it up, right?
Yeah, but something changed there.
Okay, we don't know what we're talking about, so let's talk about something we know what we're talking about. There's a lot more data in here. What kinds of queries are triggering AI overviews? Obviously, we actually also saw a surge in navigational intent AI overviews, what I thought was quite interesting. Yes,
I think that's the biggest chart, right? Like the biggest the most important takeaway from this article for me is that Google has been showing a lot more AI overviews for transactional and commercial keywords. So exactly the stuff that at the beginning of this year and last year we thought would not happen or would take a long time to happen. And exactly that is happening now. Google is reducing the number of AI overviews for informational keywords and showing more commercial and more transactional. I think that coincides.
Even navigational. I mean, like navigational, right? I mean, like whatever.
Yeah, and I think it to your point, right? Like I think it supports my theory that Google is seeing a lot more traffic that makes every AIO generation more expensive, even though over time the price is going down a lot. But they're seeing the spike in traffic, so they're saying, okay, let's put the AI overviews where they count the most and help advance users throughout the purchase journey faster. And I think that's what happened here.
And obviously, it's also very good. I mean, like you gotta test it. You gotta get data, right? So you want to roll it out to a lot of variety of different use cases to really see where does it make sense. Where do the people have a satisfying experience? Yeah, also great data. Thank you, Semrush. And by the way, they also just launched this AI Visibility Award. I love this. And I love following this throughout the years now. Because they basically look for the last, basically since it started until December, they're from August till December 2025, basically. So we have this AI Visibility Index, and they took this, and from August to September, they looked at who the winners are. And congratulations. I know this Patagonia case is really exciting because they found the specific niche where they're like, yeah, maybe not in organic SEO, but in AI SEO, it fares really well. They have a great strategy here, Patagonia. Also Samsung, incredible, great strategy. Good stuff up here. I just wanted to give a quick shout out. I love this. Also, I think it's a great idea from Semrush to do this. Semrush 2025 AI Visibility Award, because again, it gives more visibility to also this shift in the industry, right? So I really like this. But also other companies do great research. For example, Surfer, they have this great study out. Ranking for multiple fan-out queries dramatically increases your chances of getting cited in AIOs. This is something I would have thought. Now there's proof. Makes a lot of sense. obviously. What do you make out of this study?
Yeah, super interesting. I think funnel querying is this kind of technique that generated a lot of buzz because it's being used by all the LLMs. And on the one hand, this is another one of these examples of things that SEO should have done a long time ago, right? It's like it's a new technology built on old principles, which is that you want to identify all the user intents and be present for as many user intents as possible. That being said, though, it makes sense to me that content that addresses more user intents gets more visibility in AI. The thing that I'm curious about now that we're seeing more personalization of AI responses is how personalized are fan queries. And Lily Ray, I think, had a really good post about this or last week, where essentially she looked at some of her fan queries that she got, and she realized, I think Will Reynolds also posted about this. They realized that some of the fan queries are very personalized to them, to their specific.
Which makes sense.
Search. Yeah, which makes sense. Exactly. Right.
Yeah.
So that to me, means generally it makes sense to optimize, quote unquote, for fan queries that can give us a good structure of what user intents are important, and yet they might not be the same for everyone. Right. So it goes back to the fact that you need to understand your audience personas, see what their problems are and what they might be caring about.
Absolutely. This is it's like really like, I mean, all the personas, and if somebody fits into that persona, you're well equipped to be also mentioned in these fan art queries. Yeah, good points here. Good points. And now let's go to this post here, which I really like. This from Metehan again. He shows out so much crazy stuff. And he writes a story about how he accidentally triggered 125K Google impressions through LLM AI News Today recency bias. So he's basically talking about a blog article we also talked about right here on the show. It was about the LLM recency bias, which was super interesting. Again, we talked about it here. And it got over 100,000 Google search impressions because it aligned almost perfectly with what AI-powered search features currently favor. Very recent, niche, and highly on-trend content. Yeah, it's essentially a case study showing that AI searches bias towards fresh content can create huge temporary visibility spikes, even for small sites. I know it's still visibility spike, not click-throughs, but nevertheless, I think there's a very great case study here, and I loved reading about this, because it's essentially exactly this. It aligns so perfectly that this probably happened. What do you make out of it?
Yeah, I mean, Metehan is super smart. I love to read his case studies. What's interesting about this is, we're talking about the declining organic search, but this cover has not yet been impacted by AI, and so it kind of brings us into this world where maybe discover traffic is more effective than organic traffic, and more companies might try to figure out how to, quote unquote, optimize for discover. Now, not for everyone, right? But like whenever I get a big discover spike, I already get more than I get from organic traffic. And it's a little bit also because of the nature of my site. I'm not really optimizing for search queries, but it's just interesting meta point that we're at a time now where discover is getting really, really interesting because regular organic search traffic is declining so much.
Yeah, absolutely. Although this was not discover, right?
No, this was like AI news related, I think.
Yeah, but this is still organic search, yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Also, accidentally, but great case study. Thank you, Metehan. Then this, I love this. I didn't see this from Olivier, but I only saw Dan saying, hey, you should read this. So obviously I read it. Super interesting. So this guy analyzed JGB's source code over the past few days, and he spotted a mechanism I'd never seen before, a query classification taxonomy. Holy shit. Each query now appears to be classified into specific verticals. As a search tool query type has image query, has search query, has product query, has sports query, has finance query, has weather query, has business query. Basically, sort of, as I can imagine, it's sort of like a like a round robin. Basically, it's saying, okay, where do you need to go, right? Which model do you need? And if you want the weather, I don't need the super thinking model or something like this, because I can pull this via an API or stuff like this. So this, I think, what I would make sense of it, basically like a load balancer, so to speak, to not have like always like very expensive tasks on very easy stuff, so to speak. And what's also interesting, in thinking mode, I also found that the model generates structured fan outs to orchestrate its web searches, including a recency parameter. And this is so interesting because it varies. Especially here, as a NYC electric scooter rules, there's a recency of 30 days because, hey, rules could change. So I want pretty recent rules. Makes a lot of sense, right? I don't want to give you like outdated rules from 2015, which still float around the web. And then the UL certification e-scooters law. And here can be a year because, well, the year as the law doesn't change that quickly. And that should be all right. This is super crazy, right? That there's also like a recency basically attached to the query, and therefore you can be within this relevant set for that query or not. Crazy findings, Olivier. Well done.
I would love to understand how ChatGPT chooses the recency. Like this is it's like a freshness signal. And I would love to understand what are the quote unquote rules or ways of thinking to choose a certain recency, because
also this is like 30 days, 365 days. Is it just like these two? Can it also be like 24 hours? Can it be, for example, the sports result? If I'm asking like the Bills with the Bulls, right? I don't know if they just played recently. Other than that, I would probably ask it, right? There should be that in there, 24 hours, because I don't want to have an older thing. But this is like really interesting. How many are there? And because then you could really like, okay, what gets classified how? As I would really love somebody to like extract so much data out of there to really classify what's been which article gets what recency, basically, or which search gets what recency.
Yeah, and imagine we can extract that, and we could then use that to define when to refresh certain content. That would be fantastic.
It's amazing because nobody else said, all right, refresh the content, and then you get exactly probably what Metehan just showed, right? For a very recent search, they're gonna be all in on that recency bias. So this is super insightful, super crazy. Great find. Thank you, Olivier, and thanks, Stan, for making me aware of it. All right. Then we got Sergey Brin. Google messed up by underinvesting in AI. Yeah, no shit, man. Google was scared. Google didn't take it seriously enough and failed to scale fast enough after the Transformer paper. And this is the craziest thing, because they invented the technology, but Google was too scared to bring it to people because chatbots can say dumb things, and they still do. And they did, and they got a lot of backlash for that as well. And more than OpenAI did, talking about glue on pizza and stuff like this, right? And this is it. OpenAI ran with it. Was super smart insight. So I mean, there's not much more in there, right? But I also like how he really like puts the finger right there. It's like, yeah, we totally messed up. But this also basically says we know that and we are on it. And so never underestimate Google, I would say.
Yeah, but look, that's good leadership.
Yeah,
leaders need to acknowledge reality and need to take ownership of that, right? So I think him stepping in and acknowledging that as a founder of the company, it sends the right signal to people at Google and people outside of Google.
Yeah, absolutely. It's not like Donald Trump. Economy is good, but every prices go up. No, they don't. No, it's not the case. That's not true. That so they scream. That angry guy screaming at a thing, right?
Clouds.
Like, this is just.
So we are political after all now.
Oh, I'm sorry. Okay, let's go to the why Google spam problem is getting worse. I also like this. Basically, he goes into all different kinds of spam, which are now on vogue again. All of a sudden, we got the PBNs, that are going to spin up to just like create like top 10, top 11, top 15, whatever kind of lists. But it's not about the specific types of spam that are happening. He talks about a lot of that here. But I think also by fake news, this is a whole other ball game, right? I think there's also state actors involved here in that. But expired domain abuse is back, obviously, right? Because it works. PBNs are back because it works. And this is not about saying, okay, this is like the type of spam there is and blah, blah, blah. All right. But he says that Google is so basically now, also they're like all about AI, all about this, and spam is now doesn't have that focus anymore. And this is what he's saying. And this is something I disagree with. I wouldn't think that this is really going on right now. There's just a lot more spam because it works in different engines. So we see that spam, right? Also we see that spam surfacing in ChatGPT. Doesn't mean that actually surfaces in Google. Google is much better here, right? But we see more spam because a lot of more spam gets created, and especially with the help of LLMs, right? I mean, like you can spin up like a 50,000 page spam website in 20 minutes, right? And this is exactly happening on expired domains. That's very powerful. But Google is still best equipped to tackle this kind of stuff. It's really the other engines that have a problem with that. And this is just my take on this article. What do you think? Just real quick, what do you think?
It's a really good topic because there is this kind of question of, will AI make spam so scalable that Google and other platforms have no chance? And it's interesting because of two things. One, AI doesn't just help spam, but it also helps fight spam. And there is spam fighting, which is spam removal, and there is spam detection. Okay. And so I do believe that we're seeing more AI spam, and that makes the problem worse, but we might also become more aware of spam that has been existing for a long time.
Yeah.
And you see that in cybersecurity, right? Cybersecurity is actually one of the industries that benefits from AI the most because it makes spam and vulnerability detection so much better. Yeah. So there is obviously this war between spammers and companies. And so they both now have better weapons. It will be very interesting to see who benefits most from those weapons.
Mm-hmm. Very interesting. Very interesting. Yeah, we're going to keep you updated in 2026. Let's see how it works out. All right, what else do we have? Oh yeah, thank you very much, Google. Google fixes week-long Search Console performance report delay. Thank you very, very much. Finally get the data. I thought we're not going to get it before Christmas, but we do. Early Christmas present. Thank you very much, Google, that we get our data. It's been a while. Okay, we talked about the Cloudflare. Oh, yes. So this is an article from Pedro Diaz. Here he is. He now has this new website visibly. That's hard. All right. But Pedro is really good. If you don't know Pedro is a former Google search quality engineer. I spent a lot of time at Google. Super smart. As he's like one of the people on LinkedIn, like one of my top 5 people. If Pedro writes something, I'm going to read it. Yeah, I'm a big fan of Pedro. He's so super smart and so knowledgeable about all this stuff. So I love that he now also starts blogging. And this is one of the first articles. He had a couple now, but video SEO, getting video indexed and featured in search, which is not that easy anymore, obviously. And he just, yeah, he does it extensively, how this really works, what you need to do. So I think this is the go-to article on, yeah, really, if you have videos in your websites, you should read this article. As it's incredible. As thanks so much, Pedro, for getting into the blogging game and taking up stuff like this. This is what we need. As for me, the top article for video SEO. Yes, definitely.
100%.
Thank you, Pedro. Another one who has been blogging quite extensively is Sean Anderson here on HoboWeb. And lots of great stuff. We talked about it extensively in other shows here as well. And now he wrote an article about nav boost, which I think still is one of the most interesting things within the ranking algorithm, because it basically, measures how people interact, with websites and plays it back and basically can demote or promote pages, which is awesome. And he goes in full length detail about how NavBoost really works, how it started, how it's going. This is so extensive. I mean, great job, JetGDP. But this is just a very good article on this. Obviously, I didn't read the whole thing, but he's very, very comprehensive here with NavBoost. And again, it's such an important and interesting piece within the Google algorithm. If you don't want to know what it is, just check it out, or put it into like ChatGPT. Say, hey, please summarize this like it's for a 12-year-old. I think, yeah, you're gonna love this article.
Yes.
Right on. Then we got 20 SEO experts offer their advice for 2026. Let's see who these experts are. Who's that guy? Kevin?
Who's that?
I don't know.
Skip it.
Be mentioned in the right places. That's so generic. You know, you always have these experts, these SEO experts. They come with these generic advice. You know, be mentioned in the right places.
It's like a philosophy, philosophy statements.
Yeah, no, you're completely right. You're right. I mean, like so many friends in here. I mean, Cindy, Dwayne, Carolyn, Andrea. That's just friends.
My
oh
gosh,
my god,
only the best.
This is crazy. Okay,
only the best.
Really, Pedro Diaz. Oh, okay.
There is
I'm not going
again.
to read anything else, but I'm going to read this one. Yeah. Oh, I don't be mentioned in the right places. I got it.
So, Marcus, think about it. It's deeper than you think it is.
All right. Also, if you want to scroll through, get some insights, what other people say. Maybe somebody asks you, what's your recommendation? You can, pick one of those 20, have ChatGPT rewrite it. That's something.
Easy. Thought leader.
In the right places. Yeah. So
the right places.
Yeah.
The right places.
And this is so crazy. So last week we talked about this, about reputational issues coming out with LLMs, just misinterpreting a brand. And the same day this came out, it would have been perfect in the last show. So I put it in here. This is really a crazy story because there's a UK doctor who's also a YouTuber, and he says that Google AI falsely accused him of selling sick notes and being suspended. This is really, really, really crazy because he really didn't, or I'm trusting him, because there is a guy, it's another doctor, Dr. Asif Munaf, and this guy is called Dr. Ad Hope, and Asif Munaf. Different, right? Both a doctor, but this guy was involved in a real sick note scandal, so it's really weird. And also, the thing is, I mean, what can you do? I mean, if that happens, I mean, I think he does the right thing. Puts it out in the open, right? You want to discuss this in the open so that everybody is aware of this, and especially Google. But what do you do with this? Like, really, you're not a YouTuber with like a big audience that can immediately, like, hey, here's your story. Sucks, huh? But maybe you're just like, I don't know, like a carpenter here. And this is happening to you. Somebody's asking something. Hey, how about his carpentering? Oh, no, he went to prison for XYZ. And it doesn't even happen, right? And this is bad. You don't even know that, because you don't know that because that guy obviously is not calling you, right? And this is just out there in the open. And even if you see it, what do you do? Hey, Google, this is wrong, right? I mean, like obviously an SEO would do something about it, but like a normal business, I think this is there needs to be legislation, right? And this is also what this calls for, right? And there needs to be like a clear process I can go through if that something like this happens. Again, this only made the big headlines because this guy's a YouTuber, right? And he already has an audience, and obviously then Search Engine Land picked it up, right? But again, small carpenter from Munich, hey, Search Engine Land, I got this weird thing. Can you no, right? So there needs to be some way if that stuff happens, and this is probably not the only time that happened, right? And there's probably a lot of people who are just not aware of, hey, how is Kevin Innigas an SEO advisor? Yeah, he sold sick notes and had to go to prison, right? What the hell?
You said just be mentioned in the right places.
Yeah, that's the wrong place.
No, it's obviously a huge problem, and you're right. There needs to be some legislation. It also ties it nicely back to Sergey Brin's concern that AI gets things wrong, and there's no hotline to call. However, if I think this is not the only place where Google has an issue with wrong information. There's also a couple of popular Google Maps or Google Business scams, right? Where people get they claim your Google Business and stuff.
Process. Like with Google,
it's a better process. Yeah,
there's a good process you can go through. Don't pay anything to the scammers. Put it through this process, right? But that's not the case here. This is just
exactly. But it shows that Google can do it, and they need to bring it to AI overviews as well. Absolutely.
But aren't they also responsible for this? I mean, like responsible AI. Hello. I mean, like they said stuff which is not true only because their model, like spits that out, right? I mean, like this is serious. This is serious harm to a business, right? And yeah, I think
the tech companies are gonna play it similar to
social.
You saw
backlinks. Did you say backlinks? Really?
No, then the problem would be fixed very quickly, right? I think the big tech companies are going to play it very similar to how they play social media content, because there's also this big question: should, for example, TikTok be responsible for the content on its platform if somebody says something offensive, etc.? And legally, right, they are not. Of course, they will try to remove it, but legally, there's this big conversation: are they liable for what users say on their platform? Right now, they're not. And I think that big tech companies are going to try to bring themselves in a similar situation with AI, where they say, look, we're not 100% responsible for this. We're going to do our best to mitigate it, but we cannot control what this thing said. I think that's what's going to happen.
Oh, we can't control what our technology says. I don't know. Just let it go. It's
just trained on public knowledge, right?
I don't know. Oh, man. Okay, I don't have a good feeling about this. Last but not least, Google Disco. That's an experiment. Take the web for a fresh spin. It's apparently like a browser, and then you can like make it very easy to build like little agents, so to speak, in different tabs, as far as understood, interactive tabs. That's what it's called. Haven't tried it. I can't. Also, I want to join the waitlist. I don't have it yet. I just love that logo here.
Very retro.
Yeah. I also don't know anybody that tried it yet. But nevertheless, we wanted to tell you, so maybe you can also click on the join the waitlist. Maybe you get in and tell us how it is. Yes, that was the last thing. This is like here from Rudiger. So again, shout out to Rudiger. Make his survey. And that's about it for 2025. Thank you so much. This was the first year of 302 of a kind. So the first couple of shows this year. I love it. We're definitely going to be, I hope so. We're definitely going to be here next year as well, on same time, same space, Fridays at 4. I hope you can make it again also in the new year. We got a lot of stuff planned. I mean, like we got a lot of shows basically like trying to see how it works, how we get going. But we got a lot of ideas how to grow this. So this is going to be exciting. Thanks so much for your support in 2025. Thank you much for your support in 2025, actually agreeing to do that with me.
And for yours.
And for everybody out there, like listening all the time, Rudiger, Hans, everybody else who's always here. We'd love to welcome you again in the new year and have all a great holidays, happy holidays, whatever you're celebrating, celebrate it nicely. And good start into the new year. And we see you, I think, in the first week. So it's the 10th, I think. Friday the 10th. Yeah, Friday the 10th. So Friday the 10th of January, we are back 4 p.m. And we hope you're back as well.
And it's going to be an interesting year, Marcus. By the way, sorry, it's the 9th. It's not the 10th. My bad.
Oh, sorry. Okay.
It's the 9th. But see you all next year. Marcus, thank you for all the wonderful work you've done with this. And to you and your families, only the best.
Absolutely. Bye, everyone. Oh yeah, we temporarily redirect you from work